Like to call this Town of Selma Recreation Advisory Board meeting February 18th, 2025 to order. I guess our first step is to approve the agenda. I got a chance to read it, I guess.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Agenda is approved. Consent agenda, was that on the, I'm on the right pages here. Oh, that was from the special recreation board meeting. Okay.
The one that was on the Friday.
The one that was on the
called in
Friday because
for.
we had weather on the,
Yep.
on the Tuesday. So. Anybody have any issues with those minutes? Way to make a motion. We're good with them.
I motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we approve those minutes. And we have the discussion and presentations. Number one is the Parks and Rec Trust Fund grant.
I guess I just wanted to open the floor for any questions that you guys may have about it, about the plan that we showed on Saturday, because I know Saturday we didn't leave a whole lot of time for questions, so I just wanted to.
Do we have any feedback from Collier about when they need our updated?
I don't have a
Layout.
timetable from them yet. I can reach out tomorrow and get one. I do know about the survey and stuff that they said that it was fine to do it through February and then, we would get the stuff.
Okay.
So we are gonna run the survey, through February and then we will make adjustments to the Parks and Rec master plan. I'll bring it before you guys, and then it'll go to council, after that, and we'll be good to go with that.
Update both of you and anybody that watches it. Met with a splash pad company yesterday with the mayor at the property, and we discussed what all they could do and got feedback from them about cost. So we have a tentative idea and plan for what we can put on there. We'll end up with 2 splash pads, one for small children and children with sensory issues, where they're down at ground level and they can play with, like, it's basically like little rivers of water that run across it and it looks like sand, but it's not. And there'll be also a big splash pad that is, if everything works out the way we talk to them, it'll be kind of jungle themed, lots of colors, flowers, things that are interactive for the kids to do. The big part of it will be about 3,200 square feet, and the little part of it will be like 1,000 square feet. So, and then we would have a pump house built into the new part of the building that will extend for storage. So, all of that was discussed with them yesterday. And that'll be on this part F, which is why it was relevant.
Yes.
So. And it looks like we could spend anywhere from $100,000 to a couple million. Like, we're not spending a couple million.
Give me a heart attack.
No, they had some very cool ones that looked like pirate ships and all kinds of things that were on like resort islands and things. And we're like, we don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
So, but they had some very cool stuff and some things that would tie in very well with what we want to do with the botanical gardens and giving the kids something to play on. And they could even give us, we were talked about benches and seating areas for adults to sit in the shade. They can give us shade that is integrated directly, with seating and shade integrated directly into the park. So very, very cool
Sounds
stuff.
good.
Love that. So, the next one, planning and discussion. This is where I know we've tackled a whole bunch of stuff within the past couple of months. As you'll notice, this agenda is a lot shorter compared compared to the past few. So I just kind of wanted to open up a time that you guys could talk about things that we haven't accomplished yet that you want to accomplish during the 2025-26 fiscal year, and just kind of move forward. That way I have a little bit more direction about what we want to see as a rec board.
I think that one thing, if we could add it as part of the planning discussion at some point for 2025, is, I know signage and stuff has been a thing in the past, and we are definitely improving, but I think that there is the potential at some of our parks to have possibly directory type signage. You know, if we're drawing people to these parks and encouraging people to come to these parks, well, if I'm new to an area, I don't always know what's around. So if there's ways to direct them, you know, to Anderson Street or wherever where there's restaurants or shopping, or even Eastfield or something, especially if we can direct them to places here versus places in other nearby towns. I think that could be beneficial and something that some of the parks could definitely use.
Moving South Sumner Street and getting the Mitchner Station moved. So we can start a plan for the railroad station park. And if at minimum, getting a plan prepared for what to do with Breck Wilson. Because we need to start working on a plan for that other half of the property that we're not using.
Do we have any kind of idea, if memory serves, the pump station type stuff at Breck Wilson is supposed to be getting moved? Do we have any idea?
It will always be there.
Okay.
They were doing the work around the floodplain.
Mm-hmm.
We need to find out are we able to bring that area up that is in the floodplain so that we can actually use it.
I want to say what we've talked about is like a watershed kind of thing or
Yeah.
wall.
Okay.
We have talked for a couple things, but
Because the biggest thing will be is will the Corps approve us putting a wall inside the riparian buffer distance to bring our property up outside of floodplain?
Because I
Because that'll
thought,
be the question.
yeah, I thought we were kind of at a standstill until we. So I'm like,
Yeah.
has there
No,
been
that's
any other information?
That is a good point. We need that feedback from others that are outside of the town
Yeah.
of Selma to know what we are going to be allowed to do or not do. And that's going to involve things like the Corps and stuff like that. So, going to be way out of our control.
There was an inventory started at some point for equipment. I don't
Yes.
know where that ended / did it incorporate a replacement cycle for future equipment?
Okay.
So,
That's that. Yeah.
especially if we're getting the field house and we know where our stuff's going, we're looking to clear out rooms.
Yeah.
Gotta know what we have.
okay.
Discussions about Eastfield will need to be on 26. But we gotta wait for other things for some of that discussion. And where are we on the Greenway? Where are we on the multimodal?
On the Greenway, I have a meeting on Monday
Okay.
to see where we're at.
Multimodal? I haven't heard anything for a while. I know we're supposed to get the deed to the property down the road next month.
Tentatively.
Oh,
It should
that
be
was
next
that
month.
was the tentative, right?
Yeah.
We still need to follow up. I know we've had a discussion and DOT will let us use the property that's directly abutted to ours. But we need to find out about those two pieces of private property at some point and the conservatory land on the other side of the interstate. Because all of that stuff's gonna be pertinent in the 26 fiscal, because we'll actually have to start spending money on the place.
Kind of along the lines of the spending money. And it may be because, December, January, February gets a little crazy and I get a little forgetful. So we may have already discussed this and I just don't remember the answer, but we did have, some feedback from the town about questions about the tennis courts at Edgebrook. And so we were having those checked.
So what I'm doing right now is I'm in the process of getting numbers of what it's going to cost to get, because we put in a French drain to kind of help with the drainage issue that we had there. So I'm in the works of seeing of something getting a little more permanent there and not just like rocks over the top, so it can't come out into the court. I'm also getting numbers on having the whole thing resurfaced, and that includes like nets and all that jazz as well. So we're working on it, getting numbers, and we may not be able to get it resurfaced in this fiscal year, but we're looking at hopefully next fiscal year.
The 25-26 cycle.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd love to see us get to a place where we have a permanent maintenance schedule and a budget to that, so that we know that tennis courts are going to be turned over on this cycle.
So
et
what
cetera,
we're
et
kind of
cetera.
looking at, so my overall plan is how kind of the police department, the fire department, they have a plan for whenever like their guns need to be replaced, their radios need to be replaced, that kind of thing. The plan is to kind of put something like that into play for Parks and Rec as well. That way we can have a list of, that way we can stagger it. Cause right now what we're doing is we're fixing a whole lot of things that have been neglected for a long time. So right now it's all kind of fallen within 1 to 3 fiscal years worth of stuff, which is pretty pricey. So the plan is once we kind of get back to where we need to be, is have a schedule. That way we can just clockwork it. It's not all falling on 1
Be
to 2 fiscal
proactive
years.
instead of
Yeah,
reactive.
Yeah.
proactive
Instead of being ad hoc.
That is the plan.
And I know we talked about this months ago, and I think this is just since it's a planning discussion, I don't want to fall to the wayside. And I know there are plans for some adult stuff, and I just don't want us to forget about that, because I recently saw where, a different county, like closer to the coast, where they had like an indoor soccer league, and I'm like, for adults, our indoor youth league is so popular. That could be some potential things to look at. So just to keep it on the back of our mind as we see things that would really, that our community would like.
Absolutely, and I haven't forgotten about adult sports either. So we still have
Yeah.
that survey out, and then also we have recently hired a couple people. One of them has experience playing in adult sports, and I think she would be a great asset in kind of bringing that to Selma and helping us with that as well. So also.
Go ahead, finish.
Also with that, so with this the new staff that we've hired, which you guys will meet soon, it'll kind of take a lot more off of me. That way we can really start digging down and planning into future things. So
Part of that is I would like to see us break from the concept of it's about sports. We're way more than just sports.
100% agree.
And in that adult category there, technically we're responsible for that convention center down the road there, and we're not using it for any activities really.
So last year we used it for a couple different dance classes. We're
Right.
looking at doing that again once we get the floor situation finalized,
Okay.
and
But-
adding more.
I would like to see us really lean into that more.
Absolutely.
So a plan for what that could consist of would be really nice for next year.
Wasn't there self-defense classes or something?
Yep.
there
Yeah, there
too?
definitely was.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is, I mean, there's no reason for us not to, anytime it's not booked for something else, there's no reason for us not to be having stuff going on there. Heck, honestly, I don't care if they have bingo night once a week. I mean, it would be a great thing for,
Yeah.
getting people out.
I'll say, and I know that is one thing that, being in mom's groups and things like that, something that I see people, hey, does anybody know where you can go and play bingo and stuff like that.
So
Sometimes just something different to do. Get out of the house.
seeing what something, setting up different programs like that would cost us, having that in our system, because, you know, we do need to, youth sports is important, but it's really only
Small part.
Right.
that much of what we do here on Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
So we need to consider that we're lucky enough to have that building, and we need to start putting it more in our focus. Any others?
Last thing, and I know you mentioned the facility maintenance and things like that. I also seem to recall that there had been in the last quarter, like, questions asked about the mulch, different types of mulch, the
Especially
quality
Rayford
of
Street.
our
Rayford
mulch
Street needs
and stuff like
attention.
that. And I don't know if,
They all need mulch.
Yeah,
I've gotten some quotes.
okay.
mulch or that like that permanent like spongy
Yes.
stuff, not spongy stuff. You know,
That,
Yeah,
like,
it's shredded rubber.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
say
thank you.
recycled type.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
But like,
shredded rubber.
like kids can bounce on it
Yeah.
to an
Yeah.
extent.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Cool.
I have quotes on mulch. I don't have quotes on the.
Would it be, I would like when we have the discussion, if we could have quotes on both as well as the, longevity of
it.
both.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It may be something to where we do mulch now
Yep.
and then
Yeah.
plan.
Of course.
Oh, no, yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
Of
it's
course.
gonna have to be, because the shredded
Yeah.
rubber is a very expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But if we're moving, if in next year's budget, we're already moving a park, and we know that our goal is to get to rubber play surfaces, we might as well build that one with a rubber
With the
play
rubber.
surface
Yes.
and
Yeah.
move it.
Yeah.
And put that money there, and then say, okay, 6 months from now, we're gonna do this park, and 6 months from now, we're gonna do this park, and
Right.
do that.
Yeah.
But we've right now we talk about it, but we don't actually have, we don't have information to move forward to say, dear council, please approve this.
Yeah.
And then for you to be able to go spend that money to do that function.
And sorry for bringing up so many things. It's just sometimes I feel like we discuss things, but then other things get pushed to the forefront. So while we're having a planning discussion, it was just a prime opportunity to circle back.
Well, and we're gonna be adding another surface down here. So this needs to be a real plan moving forward as a part of the master plan and as a part of what we're fiscally gonna spend next year.
Yeah, and I think when, like with even the longevity type, even with the regular mulch, so that we can, think about, okay, we're gonna do regular mulch, well, then we know that's gonna last however long to help us plan and stage out for the upgrades. That's all I got.
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good. Do you have anything else you need to share with us?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
She looks like we just gave her a.
Get it rolling,
She's like,
guys.
do I open my mouth and make it last longer?
No, I don't have anything. Hey, we've made good progress. This is just more progress to make. I'm okay
So-
with it.
Yeah, my comment will be is, even if we sound like we're throwing a lot of stuff, you have no idea how far we have made since you have joined the team. So I am appreciative every day. So just make sure you keep that in your head when you hear us telling you all of these things that have to still get
No,
done.
you are good.
Well, I don't think there's a need for a closed session.
Oh,
The
business item?
volunteer coach.
What did we miss?
The business
Oh,
item.
whoops, I'm sorry. I need to put my glasses back on so I can read, don't I? Yes, I missed that whole section. So the volunteer coach fee waiver policy. Do you need us to,
I mean, I can go
do you need
over
to
it
say
with you guys.
anything about it? I mean, I guess is the thing.
No, it's just, I know this is something that the rec board has mentioned that you guys have wanted before, either a discount or a fee waiver. And so I went ahead and went with just a fee waiver for a coach. I think if the amount of time that our coaches spend with the kids, with the games, all of that, I think it's worth it to have, a free, thing. So basically what this outlines is that to facilitate a beneficial partnership, we are looking at waiving the registration fee for one child of the head volunteer coach for a team. So, and it's specifically for the head coach, just because otherwise we may have 20 different volunteer coaches, for one team, that kind of thing. and it's only for one kid. So if they have multiple children doing multiple sports, it will only count for one. It does say, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look over the actual policy, but it does say that they have to participate actively as the head coach for the entire season. The volunteer coach must have a child registered in the same sport program as they are coaching, and the fee waiver is only available for the first child registered under the coach's name for the sports season. So we do have some families who, the dad may coach and it's registered under the mom's name. It has to be registered under the coach's name. That way there's no back and forth, no nothing.
Okay.
That way it's set, and it's the first child that's registered. So we'll kind of give it that way. And it'll be applied at the beginning of the season. And the waiver will only be processed after the coach is committed to doing the full season. So they may show a balance on their account for the season, but once the season is over, that fee waiver will be applied. And that's if something were to happen, the coach isn't able to fulfill duties as head coach, but they still want their child to play, then they can step down and they would just have to pay that fee, that same registration fee. Sorry, after committing to playing the full season, my bad. Sorry, my brain's still a little fuzzy, guys.
You're good.
Yeah, and if they do not fulfill their commitment, then they forfeit the fee waiver. Yeah.
I have, I think, at this moment, 2 questions.
Okay.
The first one is, I feel like if someone is potentially looking at coaching, would they need to come to town to register? Because I feel like when I registered online, it makes me pay right then. So is that what you've experienced too? Like I think I have to pay right then. Like I can't register and pay later. And so I guess it's okay, but if we're saying they'll get the waiver, do they just get a credit back on there?
Well, either way, they're going to have to fill out a volunteer coach form, so it may be best for them to come in person anyways. That way we can address it, and I'll have to play with Rec Desk a little bit more to figure out exactly how mechanically this is going to work.
Yeah, because I feel like I feel like I've heard that it used to be you didn't have to pay right away, but then we had issues with monies not getting applied to the right places and things like that. And of course, we don't want this. Yes, we want to have an incentive for our volunteer coaches, but we also don't want to overburden staff in trying to make it work.
I'm going to be honest, if this helps us get coaches, it will not be a burden to us.
Because then my other question was going to be, the way I read this was not the way I read it, and then how you were talking about it didn't come across the same to me, because I read it that they registered and there'd be a waiver applied, but then if they didn't end up coaching the whole season, the waiver would get taken off of their account, and so then their account would show the balance.
Yes.
But okay.
Yeah, no, when I said it, that was my fault. That was my bad. I said it wrong. I should have just read the thing.
So then I think my question was gonna be, will there be procedures in place for when stuff like that happens? And I'm saying that because I know that there have been seasons when we've had coaches that quit mid-season, coaches that weren't the best coaches and were told they couldn't come back, and those type of situations. So, and I know at one point when we were talking about it, it was, and maybe they pay their whole fee up front and then they get a credit on the back end of the season, either applied to their account.
And if that's something that the board would rather us do, then
I'm just wondering if
that's a
that would be
discussion for you
easier to
guys.
track.
What's more efficient for you? You've got to,
Yeah.
every coach, you're going to have to see face to face every coach. You've got to get those forms that we need that to be an in person. If they're not willing to come in person, then we need to have a conversation seriously about whether they're gonna be a coach for us.
Yeah.
So,
And typically, I mean, if someone has never coached for us before, then we meet them anyways. We're not going to let some random person that we don't know coach
right,
kids.
so is this all stuff that can, how much of a burden is it for you and your staff to handle this all manually? Somebody's a coach, they're just kind of not in reg desk in the same sense as everybody else.
I don't think it'll be a burden.
Okay.
So I mean, it's up to what you guys would like to recommend. Whether it's give them the fee waiver right out, or have them pay the fees and then get a credit after, credit or refund.
I mean, personally, I'm fine with the fee waiver if you say that's something you can handle.
Yeah.
I'd like to see, once you've gone through the process a few times, to see kind of a written out how you're doing the process.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I'm fine with it being a waiver.
Yeah, no, and that was, if it's, I was thinking about it just as ease of the process and not being, you know, an intermittent thing that has to happen because of, oh, we know these people are coaches. Oh yeah, we just got 5 more volunteer type things. And if it was at the end of the season when you're already having to take codes out of the system to the facilities, and it being part of the season's over, or removing access, giving an account credit. That was the only reason I was asking. Whatever was going to be ease of use.
Either way, there's going to have to be something that staff does.
Right.
So one option isn't, I would say, any easier than the other.
I have a concern.
Yes.
If you give the fee waiver up front, think about the child, and say that the coach, for whatever reason, is for inappropriate behavior, and the child ultimately isn't paid for at that point, the child is who will suffer in that situation versus you paid already, you just didn't get the fee waiver. Because we have to ask the child to be dismissed at that point, it's paid. Versus the other way around, they just would never get the fee waiver, the child is still left. That's the only issue I see to give.
Problem then is you got to give a refund back if the kid doesn't play. It's none other sport after that season.
But the refund, the credit part is the day.
I mean, a refund isn't a big deal.
Yeah.
A refund or a credit isn't a big deal either way. That's just a couple clicks of a button.
And I think that would probably, the instance, like if somebody moves away and has a credit on their account, would happen less frequently. Whereas, I mean, hopefully people are staying here, and I know for us, I feel like every season we've got one kid or another in some sport, if not multiple kids in multiple sports. And I feel like that happens. I mean, I know at least for us, because we've been involved with Parks and Rec sports for years, you know, you get to know a lot of the families and how. So I think that would happen way less often. But yeah, because then I'm like, then somebody's stuck trying to chase somebody down to collect the fee.
Okay. So you want them to pay first and then credit the account or give a refund at the end?
I think logistically it just is a better flow. And maybe that's just my accounting brain working. Semi-related to this, is the coaching application online, or does
Yes.
it have to be? Okay.
It's online. It's all under the documents and policy section, new section that I put up under athletics.
And is there a link when they register a child? I know there used to be the box to, hey, do you check if you want to volunteer to be a coach? Is there a link where they could go right then to fill out an application? I don't even know if that's possible. Just a random thing that I didn't see it when we registered for indoor soccer, but I know we registered for indoor soccer way back.
Yeah,
way
I just
back.
did T-ball. The checkbox is there, but if it's possible to add a link to Rec Desk, could say volunteer to coach, checkbox, click the link to fill out the application.
I'll
Pop up
look
a new
into
tab.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure if they would be able to fill it out online.
Oh, it's a PDF to print out and fill out.
I say, I think Chad filled his out online
I'll have to look into
and
that.
printed
Okay.
it and dropped it off at, with Natalie.
Let
on
me
this.
let me double check.
But-
And I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
But I
So-
think she emailed him the application.
So we're talking about you editing the third bullet point of the fee waiver process to be they pay and then they'll be credited to their account.
Um,
and
First-
It'll be
refunded.
that whole section. Well, the
Yeah.
first and the third of the fee waiver process.
Okay,
well, and you would probably want to,
I'll
You could-
probably adjust
yeah,
other
you could-
parts of it.
yeah, you could take the second bullet point out, I think. Cause it wouldn't be after they committed anymore. It would be after the season was done.
Just change it to complete,
yeah,
Yeah.
has completed the full season.
do we want to tentatively move this forward with the edit or do we want to wait and see it next month?
Oh, I was gonna say, I am okay to make a motion to approve this with the edits.
Okay.
And for council approval, if it has to be approved by council.
It will.
It will.
I can also send this out to you guys and BCC everyone once I make the edits. That way, if there's any other adjustments, you guys can let me know before it goes to council.
So did I hear a motion? for that?
Yes, I make a motion to recommend, I make a motion that with the mentioned edits, we approve this and make a recommendation to council.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Get those edits to you Thursday, and I will ask if you guys could look it over and get me feedback, preferably by Sunday afternoon,
Okay.
because I need stuff to go to council that Monday. That it's due that Monday.
Okay.
So
Cool. Now I'll go back to, we don't have a need for, anybody have a need for a closed session? Anything else anybody needs to bring up? Be over there at the tables. No? Alright,
Do we have to make a motion for adjournment?
yes,
We do
actually we do.
Sometimes.
Yes, actually we do.
I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned, let's go home.
Oh, basketball game. Before anything else gets canceled this week.
The rest of the week's gonna get canceled. if we
Oh,
don't just wait.
I just have to laugh.